when I was in New York, Requiem for a Dream had just been released. I saw it in Los Angeles before I flew to New York. I could have probably saw it in New York too, but it was out, meaning it was on the screen in Los Angeles. I saw it. There was three big films I saw before I flew off to New York, because I was in Hollywood for a while. Well, Long Beach, but I would go acting class in Hollywood. I saw Requiem for a Dream, which completely blew my mind. Jared Leto was brilliant, great actor. And I saw another one called Before Night Falls with Javier Bardem. Forgive the pronunciation. Both brilliant acting. That year was a great year for actors. This guy's running me off the road right here. Those were two of them. I did see another film too, which was also with William. Well, it wasn't also, but it was William Dafoe and John Malkovich, called The Shadow of the Vampire. I'm gonna do fact checks on all this, but all those three films were amazing films that came out relatively in the same year, that kind of changed how I was gonna, approach cinema and acting and stuff. I didn't really try to mimic John Malkovich and William Dafoe that much. I liked their acting. I thought the acting was brilliant. I thought they were genius. All of them were genius. But Ellen Bernstein had broken some records with Requiem for a Dream, and it blew my mind. And I was in Los Angeles, because I actually right next to me was a check. There was a package that had Ellen Bernstein's name on it. I was working for Go Between, and I thought to myself, my God, I can maybe meet her, right? And I was in LA. I think her house was in Malibu or something like that. It was some house or something. But there was two addresses on it. There was her address, and then there was a delivery address, and I guess I accidentally got it mixed up. And I started driving towards the Malibu address, or whatever the address was at that time. It was off at the ocean or something like that. I don't even know if that was her home or her business or what, but it was a box or a check or something. I didn't go through the box or anything like that. But they called me in. I got a text saying, come to the office. And I knew they were going to fire me. Because they knew my intent. Just like James Lipton knew that I poured the paint in the washing machine. He knew my intent. Because I did. But anyway, regardless, I went into the Go-Between office. The guy kind of looked like John Malkovich. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. It's too big to be on a motorcycle. And, I was sitting there, and they said, you need to turn in your pager, they gave you a few things like a pager, and we're letting you go. I was with Go Between. That was a great job. I didn't have a GPS at that time, and I was using a Mapsco. Had a Mapsco and everything. I'd already dropped off Molly Ringwald's check. So they were giving me some actor stuff to move around and Go Between in Hollywood. And I dropped off Molly Ringwald's check not too far from Marathon Management, who I was with Marathon Management. That was the same group Jack Nicholson was with. I was on my way to being a big, big star. I had to hang on to this job, Go Between. It was a packaging company, shipping. They did shipping, mail. They did mail and shipping throughout Hollywood and stuff. Probably they use Postmates now, but this was a packaging company. And I said, well, I could drop off that Ellen Bernstein thing at the right address. I'm sorry, I was going the wrong way, because they knew I was going the wrong way. So now we need our pager back. And as I sat there, and the guy looked just like John Malkovich. It wasn't John Malkovich, though. It was some other guy. And, I didn't want to go. And, guy's a butthole. And, I was like, no. I was sitting in the office. We want our pager back. You must leave. It's a cool plane up there. It's like a little jet plane charter thing. And I said no. And you're fired. There's all that Donald Trump thing. You're fired. We're letting you go. Give us our pager back and leave the office. I just sat there. I said no. They said, we want our pager back. I said, look, you can give me another shot. I got the maps go. Oh, you want me to get a GPS? The GPS was, like $200 or something. I didn't have the money for that. So just give me a GPS. Give me a shot. Now, you had to have the GPS. It was $200. Now, my friends and stuff that were also actors and stuff, they're the community theater actors, they had the GPS. They were doing good. I I went up to them one time. This is before the triple homicide. Because I put that in Untitled, a book I wrote. It was this black guy that he acted. He was in I played Starveling in Midsummer Night's Dream. I think he played, he was one of the mechanicals in Midsummer Night's Dream. I think he was the wall, the chink in the wall. He had a GPS, and I said, how's it going with Go Between? He's like, it's great. I'm paying all my bills, getting everything done. I got extra money, put it in savings, all kinds of stuff. So he was making a lot of money. Go Between, he was doing really good in transport, delivery and things like that. And I said, so you got a GPS thing? I looked at the GPS. It was about, a little smaller than this. It was like a little tablet. It was a big little GPS thing. And I said, where'd you get the GPS thing? It's like, my mom got me one. It's like, oh, cool. He's driving around, dropping off these packages, stuff like that. And I was using a Mapsco. So I knew I could do it with the GPS, and I did not want to leave the office until they gave me my GPS, allowed me to do it, and do what I needed to do. So now, we want the pager back. Get out of the office. We're done. I don't know if they said anything. He kept telling it me over and over again, and I was basically waiting for him to call the police. So now, you can hire you. I can do this job. Blah blah blah. Get out of the office. No, I just kept holding my ground. Finally, something in me released, and I said, okay. I knew I had to surrender. So I passed over the pager, I got up, and I walked out. They knew I would have. And what are you going to do in that case, because they didn't want me there. So I left. I ended up doing a little bit of telemarketing for the music center in Los Angeles. And I sold, it was actually a charitable fund. We raised money for the Disney, it's kind of like where the symphony plays, orchestra. Oh man, it's like an auditorium. Disney ran it, Walt Disney World. No, Walt Disneyland. Way off on that. Disneyland. It was for Disney. It was called the Los Angeles Music Center. They had this little quote on the wall and all this stuff. It was like a saying, like a wise saying or something that was on the wall. I used to go there every day, and I would read that little saying and then go into this parking garage. I'd go up 3 or 4, 5 flights of stairs, or I would take the elevator. I think they had an elevator, and I would sneak food out of the refrigerator of this. It was the break room, because I was starved. I was eating cocoa. I was eating like chocolate cocoa. And I would sometimes go into the freezer, and I would find food that maybe people, hadn't been touched for a while, or someone's lunch, or I'd take something out of someone's lunchbox. Well, wasn't a whole lot, but a little bit. And I'd, put it in the microwave and reheat it, get all the germs off of it and everything, and I'd eat it. And no one really said anything about that. But I worked at this place. It was like a telemarketing place for the LA Music Center. It was Los Angeles Music Center. And we were raising money it was a giant building that had these almost like cells in a ship. And it was for Disney. I'll see if I can show a photo of it. And there was this big guy, it was like a Hispanic guy or something like that, or Latino or something. He was pretty nice. I told him, I think I might be going to the Actors Studio in New York. I may be leaving Los Angeles. And I was working in Los Angeles in a building. So, we had free passes to the local theater. It was a well-known regional theater that we'd go sit down and see a play there. Like Al Pacino had performed there. It was a big theater in Los Angeles, downtown. Right there connected to the music center. I had a cush job. Talking majorly cush. All we did was we called people all day long, and we asked money for supporting the Los Angeles Music Center. Well, it was through that, but it was for supporting Disney. not Disneyland per se, but for this building. You know, there was a architectural design going on. You could go in and you could walk. At that time, you could walk around and see where the building was going to be erected, where they're going to build this huge building. And there was a small model that you could look at it and see what the building looked like. It looked like these waves. When I mean, not waves, but like a ship's sails. Like, you know, the sails in a ship. You know, like how the wind carries a ship, a vessel across the ocean. It has sails. And it would undulate, right? So the building was designed after that type of ship. And so I did that. I raised money for this place. And I would go in to the break room during the day, and how I'd eat was I would go through the freezer and I'd see what they left behind. And then I would microwave it, and, you know, like a microwave dinner or something like that sometimes. And that's what I ate during the day. Or another job I had was for, I believe, the Hollywood Bowl. That one was a little less cush. And we would sell tickets for the Hollywood Bowl. And for lunch, I would take a styrofoam cup of sugar. Not the whole cup, but it was like 4 or 5 tablespoons of sugar, and mix it with honey. I'd get a honey condiment packets. So I'd mix the honey condiments with the sugar, and it was like a little piece of candy. And I'd eat that for lunch. Because I didn't have any money for lunch at that time. But I was able to make money by telemarketing and selling Hollywood Bowl tickets. And that's, by the time that was going on, I was dating a professor from a local college that was teaching literature. And I was selling Hollywood Bowl tickets, you know, to go see the LA Symphonic, LA Philharmonic. I don't know. The LA Philharmonic. I don't even know if that's right either. The LA Philharmonic. We'll just say that's right. It was basically a Los Angeles symphony of music, right? They were an LA they bring in other musicians and stuff. And then you go in the Hollywood Bowl and you'd see music. Or you would hear the music and watch the people. You could see a performance. They bring in rock stars. They brought in Metallica. They've brought in all kinds of people. The Hollywood Bowl. So I did that. I sold the tickets there for a while. And I was dating this chick named Alexis, who was a professor. And we would go around town, and she brought me to all the spots in Hollywood that people would eat at. Some diner place that's real famous. A lot of people, like comedians and stuff like that, eat there. I also ate at that place that is like a train. It's like a caboose. It's right there on the Strip, on the Sunset Boulevard, or near that. It's near that. It's in Hollywood. But it was like a caboose, and you could eat hot dogs in this little like train caboose looking thing. And eventually Diane said, okay, look, don't go to New York. Stay in Hollywood. And I said, I don't know. She goes, they'll starve you in New York. And I was like, well, why would they starve me in New York? You know? So I said, well, I want to see the Actor Studio. I want to see the original one. I want to study there. I'll go to the new school. Now it's Pace, but at the time, she's like, no, don't do it. I said, no, I'm going to do it. So we agreed on Desire Under the Elms. We had to find a scene partner. Finally, this lady comes in acting class. She is the girlfriend, or the ex-girlfriend, of Sam Kinison, the comedian. Really talented lady. Really talented actress. She was a better actress, or better actor than I was. She was very, very good. Well, she also was a headhunter in Los Angeles. Whatever that is. A headhunter in Hollywood. And so she agreed to pay for at least a month of training, and we would do Desire Under the Elms together. And Diane taught me all these little things. Stella Adler taught her and all this stuff. And we finally decided to do it. Now, this was my second attempt to get in the Actor Studio for the school, and we pulled it off. And that's when Lipton laughed and all that kind of stuff. When we were rehearsing, he got some kind of dramatic kind of interpretation. Sometimes you laugh at drama. We did the scene where Eben finds out that the baby dies and all stuff. And I had gotten in trouble with the law too during that time. I had worked with Jim Carrey on set. And yeah, it was like a business license thing. I was doing like telemarketing for some charitable organization, and they didn't feel it was a charitable organization, so they got me with false charity. It ended up being not that big of a deal. I had to pay a $200 fine and 28 days of hard labor along the roads of Long Beach and different Los Angeles. And so I was using that as a way to study Eben's character on the farm. And I was wearing combat boots. Oh, there it is. So anyway, that's how I got in. But those are some of the things I did to get in. And I got to see a lot of Hollywood. But I just didn't feel like I really got to see it all. But I could imagine living there for 2 years and getting up every day and going down Avenue of Stars, kind of Adam the Woo style, and really studying all the intricate stuff. It's like a museum. The whole place, Hollywood, the whole thing is just, it's intricate. There's a lot of specific vlog spots, movies that were made, you know, like he was in, Adam the Woo was in Pasadena. All these movies made everywhere, all over the place. I mean, if you're into vlogging for filming locations, Hollywood is the place. I mean, it's amazing. But there's a lot of stuff. There's probably movies that were shot in the Hollywood Bowl. I was passing filming locations every day, but I didn't have any type of video camera at that time. I did actually have a Sony video camera, but it wasn't mobile. I had to plug it in for it to work. So I could only get interiors of things. And I do have some interiors of Long Beach stuff and things like that, and Orange County. So I do have some Orange County stuff of some of Drake's theater that's out in Orange County. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff in California. But right now I'm in Texas, and I like things like this. So that's my trip. That's some of the stuff that I did. And get some of that information. This right here is brought to you by Viking Fence. Package is bigger than probably the biggest bag I have now. Alright. We are gonna have to do that. Alright, so we got a bigger one.